I stood in the doorway of my father's study, watching him sign papers with the same careless flourish he'd used to sign my birthday cards when I was young. But these weren't birthday wishes. These were transfer documents. My company. My creation. Being handed over to Sophia like a consolation prize. You can't be serious, I said, my voice cutting through the silence. Richard looked up, and for a moment I saw something flicker across his face. Guilt, maybe. Or just annoyance at being interrupted. He set down his fountain pen with deliberate care. Elena, I was going to call you. Were you? It wasn't a question. I stepped into the room, my heels clicking against the marble floor with each measured step. Before or after the paperwork was filed, he had the decency to look away. Through the windows behind him, I could see the garden where Sophia and Michael were walking, her hand resting on her barely visible belly in that theatrical way pregnant women do when they want everyone to notice. My former fiancé had his arm around her waist, protective, tender, everything he'd been with me before he'd decided my sister was a better option. This is about the baby, my father said, as if that explained everything. Sophia needs security. She needs the company I spent 5 years building from nothing. The laugh that escaped me was sharp enough to cut glass. The company you invested in only after I'd already proven it was profitable? That company? You're being dramatic. I'm being accurate. I moved closer to his desk, placing my hands on the polished mahogany surface. Tell me, Father, when exactly did you decide that sleeping with my fiancé earned Sophia the right to my life's work? His face darkened. Richard wasn't used to being challenged, especially not by me. I'd always been the good daughter, the one who worked hard, stayed late, made him proud. Sophia had been the one who threw tantrums and got whatever she wanted because it was easier to give in than deal with the tears. Your sister made a mistake, he said, his voice taking on that patronizing tone I'd heard him use with difficult business partners. But she's family. That child is family. They need support. And I don't? You're strong. You always have been. You'll be fine. There it was. The sentence that had defined my entire life. You'll be fine. As if strength was a punishment. As if being capable meant I deserved less, needed less, mattered less. I straightened, pulling my hands from his desk. You're right, I will be fine, but not here. Elena, I'm done. The words came out calm, controlled. I'd learned from the best, after all. Never show weakness, never let them see you break. You can have your company back, give it to Sophia, let her run it into the ground. I'm sure she'll do a wonderful job considering she can barely manage her own credit cards. You're angry, I understand, but you're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking more clearly than I have in years. I turned toward the door, then paused. Tell me something. When you look at her, do you see Mom? Is that why you can never say no to her? His face went white. Our mother had died when Sophia was 10, when I was 15. She'd been beautiful and fragile, always needing someone to take care of her. My father had built his entire life around protecting her. After she was gone, Sophia had slipped into that role so seamlessly, it was almost frightening. That's not fair, he said quietly. No, it's not. I met his eyes one last time. But then again, nothing about this family has ever been fair. I walked out of his study with my head high and my heart in pieces. Alex was waiting in my apartment when I got home, sitting on my couch with 2 glasses of wine and the grim expression of someone about to deliver bad news. How bad? I asked, dropping my bag and accepting the glass. Legally, you don't have much recourse. The company structure your father insisted on means he maintains controlling interest. He can transfer shares to whoever he wants. I took a long drink. The wine was expensive. I'd bought it to celebrate landing the Chen Industries account. That felt like a lifetime ago. But, Alex continued, and I caught the slight upturn in his voice, there are a few interesting clauses in your original partnership agreement, such as the fact that several of your major contracts are specifically tied to you, not the company. The vendors, the distribution networks, the intellectual property for 3 of your biggest product lines, All of that was negotiated with you as the primary contact. If you leave, they leave. I set down my wine glass. Keep talking. Alex smiled, and it was the kind of smile that had won him countless cases. Sharp, strategic. What if I told you that you could start fresh, take everything that matters, the relationships, the knowledge, the reputation, and build something new? Something he can't touch? I'd say that sounds like a lot of work. Since when have you been afraid of work? He had a point. I'd built one company from nothing. I could build another. But this time, I'd make sure every brick, every contract, every share of stock had my name on it. Not my father's, not my family's, mine. I'll need capital, I said, my mind already racing ahead to logistics and timelines. I know 3 venture capital firms who'd kill for a chance to back you. Your track record speaks for itself. I'll need office space. Linda already found 3 possibilities. She's been preparing for this, Elena. We both have. I looked at him, this friend who'd stood by me through law school, through my mother's death, through every triumph and disaster of my adult life. You knew this was coming. I suspected. Your father's been moving money around for weeks, and Sophia's been making inquiries about taking over your position. He paused. I'm sorry about Michael, by the way. He's an idiot. He's worse than an idiot. He's a cliché. I picked up my wine again. How long do I have before word gets out that I'm leaving? 48 hours, maybe less. Your father will want to control the narrative. Then we move faster. I stood, feeling something settle into place inside my chest. Not quite peace, more like purpose. Call Linda, tell her to set up meetings with those VC firms. I want presentations ready by tomorrow afternoon. Elena, and pull every contract I personally negotiated. I want to know exactly what leverage I have before I make my next move. Alex rose, setting down his own glass. Are you sure about this? Once you start, there's no going back. I thought about my father's face when he told me I'd be fine, about Sophia's hand on her stomach, claiming everything I'd built because she'd gotten pregnant with my fiancé, about Michael's silence when my father had announced his decision, as if I was a problem that had simply solved itself. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. The next 3 months were a blur of meetings, contracts, and 18-hour days. I'd thought building my first company was hard. Building the second while watching the first one slowly collapse was harder. But it was also satisfying in a way I hadn't anticipated. Linda became my right hand, managing schedules and running interference when my father tried to call. He tried often in those first weeks, then less frequently. Then, not at all. I heard through mutual acquaintances that the company was struggling. Sophia had fired 2 key executives in her first month, claiming they were disloyal. The Chen Industries account had pulled out, citing concerns about leadership stability. Stock prices were dropping. I should have felt vindicated. Instead, I mostly felt tired. You need to see this, Linda said one morning, bursting into my new office with her tablet. It's everywhere. The business news sites were running the same story. Tech darling Elena Chen returns with revolutionary new platform. Below the headline was a photo from yesterday's press conference where I'd announced my new company's flagship product. I looked confident in the picture, powerful, nothing like the woman who'd stood in her father's study 3 months ago, watching her life fall apart. The phone hasn't stopped ringing, Linda continued. We've got interview requests from Forbes, Fortune, Bloomberg, and 3 of your old clients want to schedule calls about switching their contracts. Set up the calls. Decline the interviews for now. I scanned the article, noting with some amusement that they'd mentioned my previous company exactly once in passing. The focus was entirely on what I was building now. What about the other thing? Linda's expression shifted to something more guarded. Your father requested a meeting, through his assistant, not directly. Tell him I'm busy. Elena? Tell him I'm busy, Linda. She nodded and left, closing the door softly behind her. I turned back to my computer, pulling up the financial projections Alex had sent over. The numbers were good. Better than good. We were ahead of schedule on every metric that mattered. In 6 months, maybe less, my new company would be worth more than the old one had ever been. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. I need to talk to you, please. Michael. Of course, I deleted the message without responding and went back to work. The charity gala was Linda's idea. She'd argued that we needed to announce our presence in the business community, show that I wasn't hiding or ashamed, show strength. I'd agreed, mostly because the venue was beautiful and the cause was good and I had nothing to hide. I didn't expect my father to be there. I saw him across the ballroom, silver hair immaculate, tuxedo perfectly tailored. He was talking to Thomas Brennan, who owned half the commercial real estate in the city. When his eyes met mine, I saw him excuse himself and start walking toward me. Elena, he said when he reached me. Up close, he looked older than I remembered. Tired. You look well. Thank you. I kept my voice neutral, polite, the voice I used with strangers. Your new company is making waves. I've been reading about it. Have you? He shifted his weight, uncomfortable. Richard was never uncomfortable. I wanted to talk to you about what happened, about the decision I made. You mean the decision to give my company to Sophia? It's more complicated than that. Is it? I took a sip of champagne, watching him over the rim of my glass. Because from where I'm standing, it seems pretty straightforward. Your younger daughter got pregnant with my fiancé, and you decided the best way to handle that situation was to reward her with my life's work. She needed support. She needed consequences. The words came out harder than I'd intended. But you've never been good at giving her those, have you? His jaw tightened. I came here to apologize, then apologize. We stood there in the middle of the ballroom, surrounded by the city's elite, and for a moment I saw something crack in his carefully maintained facade. He looked like a man who'd made a terrible mistake and had no idea how to fix it. I'm sorry, he said finally. I thought I was doing what was best for the family. You were doing what was easiest. There's a difference. The company is struggling. Sophia can't. She's not you. No, she's not. I set down my champagne glass on a passing waiter's tray. Is that why you're here? Because you need me to come back and fix your mistake? I'm here because you're my daughter, and I miss you. The words should have meant something. Maybe in another life, they would have. But I'd spent the last 4 months rebuilding myself from nothing, and I'd learned something important in the process. I didn't need his approval anymore. I didn't need his love or his support or his recognition. I'd given him the power to define my worth for 30 years, and I was done. I'm sorry you miss me, I said, and I meant it. But I don't miss who I was when I was trying to be the daughter you wanted. That person was exhausting. Elena, I hope Sophia learns how to run the company. I really do. But that's not my problem anymore. I started to walk away, then paused. And Father? The next time you decide to give away something that doesn't belong to you, make sure the person you're giving it to actually knows what to do with it. I left him standing there and didn't look back. Michael cornered me on the balcony 20 minutes later. I'd stepped outside for air, needing a break from the noise and the champagne and the endless networking. The city stretched out below us, lights glittering in the darkness like scattered diamonds. I've been trying to reach you, he said. I didn't turn around. I know. Elena, please, I need you to understand. Understand what exactly? Now I did turn, and whatever he saw in my face made him step back. That you slept with my sister, that you got her pregnant while we were engaged, that you stayed silent while my father gave her my company? Which part am I supposed to understand, Michael? He had the grace to look ashamed. It was a mistake, all of it. I was drunk, and she was there, and it just happened. Things don't just happen. People make choices. I crossed my arms, the evening air cool against my skin. You chose her. You chose to betray me. You chose to say nothing when you could have told the truth. I was scared. Of what? Of being a decent human being? Of taking responsibility? Of losing everything. His voice cracked. Your father made it clear that if I didn't support Sophia, if I didn't go along with his plan, he'd destroy me. My business, my reputation, everything I've built. I almost laughed. So you destroyed me instead. I thought you'd be okay. You're always okay. You're strong and smart and capable. And I thought, you thought I'd be fine. The same words my father had used, the same excuse. You know what's funny? You're right. I am fine. Better than fine, actually. My new company is going to be worth 10 times what the old one was. I've got investors fighting for a chance to back me. I've got respect and freedom and a future that doesn't depend on anyone but me. Then why do you look so angry? The question caught me off guard. I realized my hands were clenched into fists, my jaw tight enough to ache. Because you could have been part of that future, I said quietly. We could have built something real together. Instead, you chose the easy way out. You chose to be weak. I still love you. No, you loved the version of me who made you feel important, the version who needed you. I moved toward the balcony door. I'm not that person anymore. I don't think I ever really was. Elena, wait. But I was already gone, back into the warmth and noise of the gala, leaving him alone with his regrets. Sophia was standing by the bar when I came back inside. She saw me and froze, her hand instinctively moving to her stomach. She was showing now, maybe 6 months along. Her dress was designer, probably paid for with my company's money. For a moment, we just looked at each other, then she set down her glass and walked over. I'm surprised you came, she said. Her voice was softer than I'd expected, less aggressive. It's my city, too. I guess it is. She bit her lip, a nervous gesture I remembered from childhood. I've been wanting to talk to you. Have you? I know you're angry. You have every right to be. What I did, what Michael and I did, it was wrong. Yes, it was. She looked down at her stomach, her fingers tracing small circles. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even know if I'd forgive me. But I need you to know that I never meant for it to go this far. It was supposed to be one night. A mistake. Then I found out I was pregnant, and everything just spiraled. And you decided the best way to handle it was to take my company. Dad decided that, not me. You could have said no. Could I? She met my eyes and I saw something there I hadn't expected. Sadness. Maybe even regret. Have you ever tried saying no to him? Really saying no? It's impossible. He has this way of making you feel like you're being selfish if you don't do exactly what he wants. I knew that feeling. I'd lived with it for 30 years. So you took the easy way, I said. Just like Michael. Yes. Her voice was barely a whisper. And now I'm trying to run a company I don't understand with a man I'm not sure I even like anymore. All while preparing for a baby I'm not sure I'm ready for. Part of me wanted to feel sympathy. She was my sister, after all. We'd shared a childhood, shared losses, shared a lifetime of our father's impossible expectations. But the larger part of me remembered standing in his study, watching him sign away everything I'd built. I'm sorry you're struggling, I said, and I meant it. But I can't help you. That's not my job anymore. I'm not asking you to help. I'm asking you to, I don't know, acknowledge that I'm not the villain you've made me out to be. That I'm just a person who made terrible choices and now has to live with them. You're not the villain, Sophia. You're just the person who destroyed my life because you were jealous. She flinched. I was jealous. I've been jealous of you since we were kids. You were always smarter, stronger, better at everything. Dad was always so proud of you, and I was just the pretty one, the one who needed to be taken care of. So you decided to prove him right. Maybe I did. She straightened her shoulders, and for a moment I saw a flash of strength I didn't know she had. But I'm learning. I'm trying to be better. The company's not doing well, but I'm working with consultants. I'm learning how to lead, how to make decisions, how to be more like you. Don't be like me, I said. Be better than me? Be better than what our father expected either of us to be. She smiled, sad and small. Is that possible? I don't know, but it's worth trying. We stood there in awkward silence for a moment longer. Then she nodded and walked away. I watched her go, feeling something loosen in my chest. Not forgiveness, not yet, maybe not ever, but something close to understanding. 6 months later, I stood on the roof of my new building, watching the sun set over the city. My company was thriving. We just closed a major funding round that valued us at 3 times my original company's worth. I had a team I trusted, a future I'd built with my own hands, and freedom I'd never known before. Linda found me there, tablet in hand. The Wall Street Journal wants an interview. Something about women rebuilding after business setbacks. Tell them I'll think about it. Your father called again? Tell him I'm busy. She smiled. Already did. But Elena, he sounded different this time. Not demanding, just sad. I thought about that. About the man who'd taught me to never show weakness, to always put family first, to sacrifice my own needs for the greater good. The man who'd failed at all of those things when it mattered most. Maybe I'll call him back, I said. Eventually. And Michael sent flowers. Throw them away. Done. She paused. There's one more thing. Sophia's company is filing for bankruptcy. It'll be in the news tomorrow. I should have felt triumphant. Vindicated. Instead, I just felt tired. Send her my lawyer's contact information. Alex can help her navigate the process. Linda raised an eyebrow. Really? Really, she's still my sister, and besides, watching her fail doesn't make my success any sweeter. It just makes everything sadder. After Linda left, I stayed on the roof, watching the city lights flicker on one by one. I thought about the woman I'd been 6 months ago, standing in my father's study, losing everything. And I thought about the woman I was now, standing on top of my own building, owing nothing to anyone but myself. I'd lost my company, my fiancé, and my family, but I'd gained something far more valuable. The absolute certainty that I could survive anything, that I was enough, all on my own. My phone buzzed, a text from Alex. Champagne tomorrow to celebrate the funding round? I smiled and typed back, absolutely. The wind picked up, cool and clean, carrying the smell of possibility. Below me, the city stretched out in all directions, full of opportunities and second chances and new beginnings. I'd built one empire, lost it, built another one, better than the first, and I was just getting started.